6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. People of the world, hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 187, I want to say. Did you know that I don't believe in coincidence? Yeah, we've talked about it before. I sure don't. What am I drinking? I'm drinking a delicious Red Cliff 2016 tea. It has L-theanine. Makes you happy. Cheers. Today on the show, we are going to have a very interesting conversation. One of the things I love about the guest, Danielle Hughes, that will be joining us shortly, is that she is very upfront. Did you know that she, when she was younger, was an overweight kiddo, and she lost a lot of weight? And if you think that that is just some sort of, whatever, throwaway thing, well, you would be wrong. Why is that? Because the things that we traverse in this life, of course, mold who we are. She has the magical skill and ability of going into a corporate space or with an individual and actually having an honest conversation via the written word for that company. Why do I know that she's good at this? I know this because we talked about swearing. Yeah, swearing. We don't do that on the show, but I definitely do it in real life. I do it all the time. I don't do it out of anger, and neither does Danielle. We do it because it's an authentic mode of communication. When I am with a client and they start dropping F-bombs in a polite way, it means that we've made a connection. Now, I'm not saying that Danielle's running around and she's dropping F-bombs in clients' blogs. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that she prioritizes honest communication, because let's face it, most blogs are just sort of talking to this random idea of who the person should be and not actually connecting with another human being. So here she is, the incarnation of communication. Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle Hughes.
Oh my God, I might steal that. The incarnation of communication. I love that. I also love the fact that your tea is from a year like it's a wine. I've never heard anyone say this is a 2016 tea. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Red Cliff Pour. Shout out to Leo Lucchini and Tea and Whisk. Watch that episode. You know you want to.
I'm going to now. I mean, I'm going to get into it.
So you're born on Long Island. And let's talk about the parent situation.
Okay.
Both parents, one parent. What happened?
Both parents were married. Well, so back then, parents were married. Parents are no longer married. That is a story, which we can get into when we progress to the later years.
That's right.
But like typical, like my mom was 20. My dad was like 24. He was the older kid from a different school. They got set up by my dad's cousin who went to school with my mom. And they dated for like 4 years and got married and did the whole like Long Island, let's buy a house thing. Both blue collar, but my mom put herself through college while we were kids.
So when you were a kiddo, they were together until what
Correct.
age?
27, 28.
Oh, until you were 27 years old.
Correct. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah. 28, something like that. Yeah.
So
they were together for like
they
31
raised
years.
You.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought they were born in June. That's Cleaver for you kiddos. Go Google it.
Use the Google machine. So, so when you were young, did you gravitate towards writing? Did you know that you were good at writing early?
You know, what's funny? I did. I actually won a contest in the local paper, Newsday, which is Long Island paper, around E.T. When E.T. came out, it was like a bank sponsored it, and you had to write a story about E.T. And I think I wrote about E.T. coming into my backyard. That's all I remember, but I do remember getting like a runner-up prize. I didn't win, and I got like a stuffed E.T. doll, and my photo was in the paper with all of the other winners. I just always found writing to be very easy for me. Like it was, and maybe that's part of the BS stuff that we alluded to earlier, the fact that I can just kind of tell a story about it, not out of nothing. So I'm able to just write a lot of things and make it like a book report for me was like no big deal. I could just add a bunch of nonsense and make it really long.
Do you feel like your career has been an attempt to win first prize on that ET contest?
No, but that's funny. No, because I actually didn't want to be a writer. I went to school to be an art director. I went to art school. I had a portfolio. My major was design. And I realized in college that I was a better writer than I was a designer.
Well, that is interesting. Sometimes the things that we're best at that we kind of fall out of love with at times, you can kind of go back and forth. You're like, no, I want to go do this other thing. And everyone around you sees it's so blatantly obvious. They're like, no, you're actually really good at this other thing. Why are you trying to go be this other? But it's important to create that flexibility at times. But so as far as I'm concerned, you should have won first place.
Thank you.
On that. That's ridiculous. Whoever judged that made a egregious mistake.
Huge, to quote Julia Roberts.
How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare they? Okay, so as a young kiddo, you had the creativity, which makes sense to me because you also just shared with us that you were an art major in college, yes?
Yeah.
So you've got this kind of creative vibe, and that's cool. When you're super young, did you interact well with the other kiddos? Did you have a lot of friends?
Yeah, I wasn't like popular because obviously you can't be popular if you're a fat girl. You can be if you're a fat boy. That's highly encouraged actually because then you're like the class clown. Overall, you just get bullied. But I was very fortunate to have a close knit group of friends. Although my elementary school friends did not become my future friends. Like I basically got into high school and decided to clean house and got all new friends. And my two best friends from high school are still my two best friends.
Okay. So elementary school, you kind of, well, we'll talk about the transition on the weight and when that particular occurred, maybe those things. But I do want to mention Lillian August in chat writes, art school explains the magnificent eyebrows.
Actually, this is microblading, Lillian. So just a lot of money explains the amazing eyebrows, but thank you.
So an investment. It's an investment.
Correct. I actually did have great brows and then I over tweezed them. And so now I'm trying to get them back, but I appreciate the love.
There you go, Lillian. And do not question Lillian's compliments, for they are always accurate. So away we go. Kiddo, when did you shed the weight?
Oh, like I was as a full-on like adult, like in my like 30s. So way, way, way later. Although like like every person up and down, up and down, up and down. So, my mom had me at Weight Watchers when I was like 12. By the way, if I look back, wasn't even remotely fat at all. But, this is one of these things where you look back and you're like, I don't understand. I was a small person. And then, so up and down, I probably lost the same 20, 30, 40 pounds, 5 or 6 different times, tried every diet through high school, got really thin right before college, then had the freshman 5,000 instead of 15. And then it was like, I just, at some point was like, you know what, I'm going to just accept who I am in my like late 20s. And I didn't really lose the weight for good until after I separated from my husband.
A catalyst.
Correct.
Catalyst.
Yes.
I understand. Okay, so you're a young kid. Your mom decides that she should put you on Weight Watchers. Did you have any choice at all in the matter, or was it sort of top down? It is what it is. We're doing Weight Watchers now.
It wasn't really a choice, but I also think I was convinced that I needed it because that was society and everybody was telling me, and this is just what you do, right? And people in school were picking on me. So of course, like if everybody thinks that I'm fat, then clearly I need help. And so I should go to Weight Watchers.
Right.
So, but wasn't something that I wanted to do, but I think I didn't feel like I had a choice.
I've heard from other folks that were overweight when they were kids, talk about the development, especially young women, of a personality that other young girls didn't have or didn't need to have as sort of a defense. Like I had to be interesting, I had to be engaging, I had to be funny. What was it for you? Do you feel like you had to sort of step up in some other way to counteract this perception that people had of you or you had of yourself?
I don't know that I ever did that consciously. Like I am very funny. But I did also pride myself on being really smart, and I worked hard to be smart. So potentially buried deep inside was this, well, if you're going to like not appreciate my outside, you're going to appreciate my inside, because I'm going to be like top of my class and I'm going to go to a great college and I'm going to read all the books. And, Washington University in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
So it's close. It's like a little bit away from Columbia. So the Harvard of the Midwest is what they call it.
There you go.
Yeah, everything's the Harvard of something. So that's interesting. I never thought about it. I think I always just was funny. I grew up in a household that like praised humor. We were very into music and movies and culture. So I'm really good at trivia. But the being smart thing was very important to me. Like I worked really hard to learn and get good grades.
Yeah, so I think I would argue that you're willing to say things that many folks would shy away from, that they would be, that they have no experience in that space on a blog, in the written word, because of the years of developing that style. So it's maybe isn't funny, all right, even though you are, but at times it is, but it's also very intelligent, it's very nuanced. You have to actually read it or you're not going to get it. You can't skim it. You actually have to read the thing and pay attention. Otherwise, you're going to miss it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have a very healthy dose of sarcasm. And, sarcasm is intelligent humor.
Oh, yeah.
And lots of pop culture references, which also presume a level of knowledge of where people are coming from. And I think having a thick skin from all the years of being picked on, I'm now willing to share a lot of things that maybe other people wouldn't because I don't care. I don't care what you think about me anymore, right? Like it's a complete 180 from feeling, small and picked on to being like, say whatever you want. Like I'm confident in who I am and you can go F yourself, basically.
That's right. I will find myself in the park with my shirt off, practicing Kung Fu, bow staff, Tai Chi sword alone and looking like an insane person to some people. I could not possibly care less.
Agreed.
I do not care. My particular vex was acne, which I had for a good 12 years, just top to bottom. And it was, you better develop a personality, dude. You better be funny. You better be something that isn't this face because it is not pretty and painful. Yeah. And now I do public speaking. I wrote a book. I'm out. I want to put my face out there because I had to hide it for so many years, literally hiding. Like I would know on one side of my face if I'd have a really bad zit, I would talk to you with my other side of my face showing.
Yeah.
So self-conscious. And unsurprisingly, we end up with this value. You actually are investing in your future self, kids listening to this, even adults as you push through and are struggling through something. You're like, oh, but my hip hurts. That couldn't possibly be a good thing. No. Myopic. It's myopic. You have to look into the future and see that, no, it's not some absolute chance encounter that these things are happening to you. They are happening for a good reason, even though the thing itself is objectively bad.
Or they're not. Because I don't subscribe to the everything happens to a reason thing. But I think when things happen, you have the choice to either learn from them or ignore them, basically, right? Everything's an opportunity for growth and learning. It doesn't mean it happens for a reason, but you can choose to see that there is one, or maybe it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I didn't like when people would say to me, everything happens for a reason. I would viscerally get upset with that. And the way I like to look at it is if I get stopped at a red light, it's objectively bad. I'm wasting gas. I'm hitting the brakes. I'm putting wear and tear on my brakes. It would be so much better if this red light just wasn't here. Not a good thing. However, I can't possibly know what's going to happen when I arrive at my destination and how the thoughts have changed because it's 30 seconds later, it's 45 seconds later. I don't know what would have transpired had I made it through that red light. And because of my profound human ignorance, I am just working off of the assumption that there is a good reason. And that's just a choice. That's just a choice that I make where I go, you know what? There's a good reason for that. It makes me feel better about myself. And not just a reason. Duh, there's a reason. Some dude doesn't want you to smash into some other car. That's the reason. It happens for a reason. Duh, of course it happens for a reason. We're trying not to kill each other on the road. I like to think that it happens for a good reason that's beyond my human cognition to understand.
Okay, could appreciate that.
Yeah. So you're young. You are going through, I don't know, what circle of hell would you say it is? The third circle, fifth circle?
There's 7.
I think there's 7.
9. I don't know.
Which circle of hell would you
How
place
many?
yourself
I mean,
on?
on the circle ratio. God, I mean, it was definitely probably worse when I was younger. So it might be like a higher circle, and then we moved out of the circles. Maybe like 5. Let's say 5.
Okay,
Sure.
solid 5.
We'll see.
But you did manage to push through. You made it into junior high. Let's pick up there. Who were you in junior high? Were you a writer? Were you like what was your thing? What were you into?
Who was I? Well, I wanted to be, God, I think I was on like the kick line thing, like the dance. I had zero, I still have zero rhythm. Just no body awareness. But I was like, I think I wanted to be sportier than I was. I did play soccer in elementary school. I did not in junior high, but I played tennis. So I was kind of a tennis player, mediocre at that. I don't know that I was like such a writer. God, junior high is one of those. I mean, I was big hair and a lot of hairspray and brooches and giant sweaters and leggings and all of the awkward 80s stuff for sure.
Were you honest with people even back then? Did you find that when you were interacting with people that you would tell them things that other people wouldn't tell them because you prioritized honesty?
Yeah, I think that was like a very historically young thing for me. And I don't know where that comes from. I mean, some people are like, oh, it's because you're a New Yorker. I'm like, well, not every yes, New Yorkers are direct, and whether or not we like you or we don't like you, but that sort of in your face, I'm going to say something to you even if you don't like it. And I've obviously worked on nuances of delivery as I've become an older person. Because I think when you're younger, you just say it and you're like, but it's the truth. And even though you're hurting people's feelings. But I was always I used to call myself like the psychiatrist of the stars, meaning like all my friends would come to me with their problems and ask me for advice. And they wanted real advice. Like they didn't want me to beat around the bush. They wanted me to say like this about this boy they were dating or this situation or their parents. And I don't know where they thought I had this level of expertise, but maybe it was more about honesty and authenticity versus any level of knowledge that I might have on the subject.
In your bio, I love that, by the way, of course.
Thank you.
In your bio, you use the word magician. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you.
Sure.
When you're on the interwebs, when we go down a page, we refer to that as scrolling.
Correct.
So if we were to envision a scroll, one could envision literally scrolling down a web page. Hence the idea of scroll. And the written word then, by extension, and if you go all the way back to like early writing, Egyptian hieroglyphs, the Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Tao Te Ching, all this stuff, they're basically magical because they have transcended time and been super popular and changed so many minds. Do you believe that writing can be magic?
100%. Yes. And I sort of poke fun by calling myself a magician. And some people take it literally. They're like, oh, you do magic? And I was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's more this ability to presto changeo, make someone understand that they can write about themselves authentically and genuinely, and that it's actually going to be better for them in the long run and not worse. So I think it's more the magician's ability to, yes, tell a narrative, tell a story, change someone's life, create a motivation, whatever you want to call it. But I think words are so powerful. Probably the most powerful thing that we have in life. I don't know what would be more powerful.
I'm reminded of the word enchantment. So like chanting, like it's an enchantment. You can enchant someone with a word. Yeah, the written word to me, I think we look, so some people do. We'll look at these fantasy worlds and be like, there's these better worlds out there and the dragons and wizards and this sort of thing. And then here we are literally creating these worlds in our imaginations. And for me, objects can literally be magic. So this teapot right here. Oh, yes.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's everything you've ever wanted in a teapot.
If you've ever wanted one, that's fair enough.
Even if you don't.
Okay, fair enough.
It's clay.
Okay.
It's handmade. On the bottom of it, there is this filter, this little silver mesh that collects all the nonsense that would get into your tea.
Right, the leaves and the sticks and whatever. Okay, fine.
And upon first glance, you would think that's going to rust immediately because it's just sitting in tea water constantly all the time. And it has shown zero signs of oxidation for the years that I've had it. And as far as I can tell, it is an extension of the magical energy of some human being I may never meet. And it absorbs the flavor of this incredible world quality tea that I drink every single day, which is the only drug that I'm aware of on planet Earth that is actually good for you. So it's a little...
Tea is a drug?
Yes, caffeine.
Oh, okay. But not all tea is caffeinated, but I see what you're saying. That's fine.
Correct. So the tea tree, because there's only one tea tree and just the varieties of that tea tree is, that be by definition is drug. But it also has L-theanine, which suppresses, cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and it increases serotonin and dopamine. It makes you calmer, but the caffeine keeps you awake. And so it's a potion. It is a magical potion.
So I should drink more tea is the takeaway I'm going to take.
You should watch the Leo Lucchini episode about tea and whisk and get the right tea and do it the right way.
I mean, I do the right everything. I drink the right coffee. I drink the right wine. I'm very much snobby with my substances, as I think we all should be about what we're eating and drinking and putting in our body. So I'm going to definitely check you out, Leo. Stay tuned.
That's right. Or maybe we could do a panel with you and Leo. And I could be like, she needs to learn about tea, Leo. Let's teach Danielle.
That's right. Maybe he needs to learn about coffee.
Ooh, you wanna? Okay, all right. I'm seeing things. I'm having visions. I'm having visions, man.
There you go.
So yes, I would argue that the transformation of suffering is the primary lesson that we need to learn on this planet, which is to say, how do we take incredible, legitimate pain, turn it into something incredible, and not shy away from words like wizard or magician, because it is magical. The transmogrifying that into something good is the primary magical thing we do as human beings. And you appear to have done that.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's a very potent, strong description. But I do think that struggle, if you haven't struggled, where's strength coming from without struggle, right? It doesn't exist. So yes, I love that.
So you're a magician, and you are in your little wizard school of junior high. Where you're in Hogwarts. So there you are in Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Hogwarts is scary, by the way. Slytherin.
It's true. There's legitimate ghosts and things roaming around. So.
Lillian writes, totally worth it, Danielle. My life hasn't been the same since switching from Lipton.
That's amazing.
So there
never
you go.
drink Lipton, but thank you.
Literally the shavings from the floor.
Happy enough to know I'm not doing Lipton, but I may have a variety of Trader Joe's teas in my cabinet. So I don't know where those fall on the spectrum, but
loose leaf or bust.
No, they're not. But okay, well, it's a conversation worth having.
Yeah, we'll get there. There.
I mean, I grind my own coffee beans, so I feel like I should do tea leaves, right? Yes.
Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, it's a life changer, game changer. Yeah. So
junior high,
Hogwarts.
Yes.
So there you are in Hogwarts, doing what you do in the Hogwarts. Was there a he who shall not be named in that time of your life? Was there a terrifying entity, the principal perhaps? Some person in your life?
Not in middle school. I would say starting in high school, my earth science. One of my lab partners was a horrible human being. And so was a bully and all that kind of thing. But I don't remember in middle school having a specific face to an evil face to someone.
Well, let's bump ahead then. So you're studying chemistry.
Or earth science. It might have been earth science because I feel like it was freshman year and I did not take chemistry until I was a junior. So
right.
Okay. It's very important we get the science right. It's
all good. And we'll go back and we'll go forth. It doesn't matter.
It's so not, but it's fine.
No, it's all good. Here's my thing. The reason why I like going through people's life stories and having this be some, because when I'm a guest on podcasts, it's just a throwaway. Like, oh, tell me about yourself. And then they don't care. And then you get 10-minute, whatever, you do your little spiel.
Yeah,
and
plug
then
all the things and then we'll close.
Yeah, you know, because they're not interested in a relationship with you. That's the primary difference between this show and the other shows. Like, I want you to be on a panel in the future where I'm like, well, Danielle's a magician. Do you see what I'm saying? And then we can tie in all these things that I actually know about you as a human being into, you know, a decent conversation. So, okay, so let's do high school. So, this lab partner, what was the deal?
It's a really good question.
Like, what did you do? Why is this your fault?
I mean, I did nothing other than being a large girl. And
Exactly.
I guess that hurt him in some way, that how dare I? And I was friends with a very small girl. So it was very easy to just play off the dichotomy of our sizes. It's interesting. I'm actually taking this spoken word workshop now that I've been taking for quite a long time.
Okay.
And one of the topics of last week's poem was to write about like somebody that like you have never forgiven or that you should forgive or whatnot, right? And like I'm very lucky. Like I don't haven't had anything awful in my life. There's no thing, but this person, it's not that I never forgave him, but I also never really thought that I like at this point, like I'm so over it. But I was like, you know what? Let me get into the head of like what was going through his mind. Why did he do this? And my only thing that I can think of is that he obviously was probably bullied and picked on in his family. Like I'm sure that his father was abusive and berated him, and he heard these things and therefore he emulated them, and that's where this came from. So it was like a very recent and cathartic thing to think about having some compassion for someone who clearly had no compassion for me.
MAGICIAN. There you go. Would be the correct spelling of the word. So this is the primary skill of all enlightened beings, is empathy. It's what separates us. I mean, have you seen My Octopus Teacher on Netflix?
No, but I've heard about it, and I'm really scared to watch it because I love octopus so much, and I know.
Never ever be the same. It will change. You may stop eating calamari. Don't know if you eat meat or not.
That's squid. It's different.
Octopus is so I apologize. Octopus.
Yeah,
right?
I know they're so smart, and they have brains. They have like 3 brains because their arms work. I know.
Forget it, dude. Forget it. I mean, they are sentient. They play. They have fun. They women octopus sacrifice themselves for their young. It's incredible.
So doesn't it like they mate and then the man goes off to die and then the woman gives birth and then she goes off to die? I mean, I don't know how they even. I mean, this procreation thing seems very risky when everybody's dying when they.
It will definitely kill you. Yeah. You're gonna die, and then you create 10,000 little octopi.
I know. Oh, is it that many? Is that how many?
Well, because most of them die. I mean, this is for some reason.
Okay, right. Because I was saying they don't have that many babies. I didn't think it was a lot. Okay.
It's a lot. That was my understanding. But a ton of them just get gobbled up right away. You know, some little fish just runs by and just eats them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So truly remarkable. I mean, the octopus is literally a magical creature out of like a D&D book or some fictional novel. I mean, what they are capable of doing, it should boggle the mind.
I've never done anything in Dungeons and Dragons. I have no.
Well, you would fit right in because you're a magician, and B, it's never too late. It's never too late to put on your nerd hat and just play some D&D.
I think I'm okay. I'll get through.
She's good. She's good. Thank you.
I've never seen Game of Thrones either. Like this is not my thing.
It's all good. It's not your thing. It is 10:59, which is to say that we are nearing the end of this, dare I say, magical conversation. And we want to hear about Danielle Hughes and why you should hire her, why you should spend your hard-earned dollars to make her life a bit better. Go ahead, Danielle.
I mean, no one has to make my life better. I would never ask that. But I want to make your life better by helping you realize that you can write about yourself in a way that brings out your own awesome, that connects with your audience, and that frees you up to realize what makes you different and special from everybody else that does the same thing that you do. So there we go.
If you have a mic, feel free to drop the mic.
In a nutshell.
Mic droppage.
That's it.
Where can they reach you?
So morethanwordscopy.com. I have a bi-monthly newsletter that goes out that, not surprisingly, is not boring. It's always like a story, some kind of fun observation that I might have. I also do workshops for people to create kick-ass about pages for your website or LinkedIn bio. So if you're looking to like put some pizzazz into that, you can hit me up there. And then all the other things are just on my website too.
Love it for it. Agree
and find me on
with
LinkedIn.
it.
LinkedIn's always good too. I'm a LinkedIn person.
So if they search Danielle Hughes, will they find you?
They might have to search Danielle Zeitlen Hughes, Zeitlen. That's my maiden name. But yeah, they should find me because there's probably like 100 Danielle Hugheses. And
they can go to your website and click on a link, perhaps?
Correct. There might be a LinkedIn icon somewhere in the footer. Yes. So my designer tells me. Yeah.
Search for it. You know it's there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the next episode, we will pick up around chemistry. And then, yes, I think you would make an excellent panelist.
Thank you.
Because of the all of the skills and experience. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Marketing as a Foreign Language. If you are joining us live, you know we love you. Thank you for chatting, Lillian. We appreciate it. If you are like most folks watching us after the fact, do not fear. We love you too. If you are listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, hey, thank you. Leave a comment, hit the like button. You know you want to. Support the channel. Danielle Hughes, amazing guest. Final thoughts?
Thank you. This was super fun. Excited for the panel and to continue my life story. And the check is in the mail for the therapy session. So I appreciate it.
Yes. I will be checking religiously.
Yes. Thank you, Kellen. It was really fun.